Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar by Atulith Academy. Thank you all for taking the time to join us. Let me just brief you all up about Atulith. Atulith Academy was founded by Radhika Kautha, a corporate trainer and learning designer who works extensively with professionals and organizations on communication, ownership, and workplace effectiveness. The Academy was created with a clear intent to help professionals communicate with clarity, take ownership, and perform effectively in real workplace situations. Today's session is titled Turning Feedback into Fuel, and it has been designed to be practical, relevant, and immediately applicable for corporate professionals. Before we begin, a few quick housekeeping points. Please keep your microphones on mute. Use the chat actively for reflections and responses. Stay with us till the end for a useful takeaway resource. Before we jump in, quick expectation setting. This session is not about communication theory. It's about what actually happens at work when critique feels personal and the stakes are high. By the end of this hour, you won't feel inspired. You'll have high octane responses you can use tomorrow morning. I would also like to invite our facilitators for today's session. We have Megha Pawar ma'am. She is an experienced educator, soft skills trainer, and career coach with over 2 decades of experience. She has conducted several corporate webinars and training sessions empowering professionals with confident communication, clarity, and career direction. We also have Pushpa Pant ma'am. She is a certified soft skills and public speaking trainer with over a decade of experience in education. She began as a freelance trainer and has since transitioned fully into training, helping individuals excel in corporate environments with her practical hands on approach. Pushma Pam, please take over.
Thank you, Insia, and good evening, everyone. So, before we dive in, let me take a pause because today isn't just any day, it's Valentine's Day. And thank you for sparing some time for us. I'm sure this evening is very special to every one of us. So, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And may your day be filled with warmth, connection, and a little extra love. Now, let me disturb your expectation for a moment. I believe you logged in for a webinar on feedback. But there's a twist here. So I'm not starting with feedback, I'm starting with a challenge. I want to examine something, and that's your speed, your instinct, your interpretation. So, are we ready? Can we have thumbs up on the screen if we are ready? All right. Yes, I see many. You know, what happens is uh, sometimes we see something, but it rarely means what it is. So, what we are going to do over here today is we have an emoji equation challenge. Now, in today's fast world, emojis are very quick and easy way to express our emotions. So today we are going to use these emojis to challenge you, and let's see how well you know the emojis. So there will be no context, no explanation, just emojis. And what you have to do is you have to decode the phrase, a phrase that will be depicted using emojis. But the challenge over here is that you have to be fast, fearless, and yes, no use of AI, no Googling, just unfiltered responses by unmuting yourself. And the chat, or you can also use the chat box. The chat box and your mic is the battleground here. And I don't want just observers today. I want participants. So if you're ready to play this game, type in the chat box game on. I'm waiting for your responses. Yes. Sheila, all set? Rajesh, well done. Yes. So the energy is high over here. I see so many competitors. Let's see who is the fastest decoder here. All right. So all set. Can we have the next slide and the challenge, please? So this is the emoji. You have to decode a phrase. Please unmute. Let's see who does it first. There's something shown with a fire.
Come on. Who will go first?
Virita?
Yes. On whom are we going to get the first response? Waiting for it.
Fire brigade.
No, but yes, something related. You can look
You're
for
close
some
to it.
words related to fire.
Yeah, it is.
What fire does?
Sheila says,
Fireworks. I don't know.
Let's light the torch. No, Sheila, you're not spark. It's a phrase. It's a phrase. So when we put fire, what it does?
Spark.
Spark. Okay. Okay, let me give you a hint with the first word. It's burning. Burn the bridges, Radhika. Well done. That was
very well done.
Very well done, Radhika. So the first one is burning bridges. Well done. That was sharp. Now let's raise the stakes and see what's the second emoji question is. Can we have the second emoji? This one is easy. I'm sure you will be able to
Night owl.
decode it. Night owl. Well done, Dinesh. Well done. You nailed it. That was really very quick. Sheila, yes, night owl. You're correct. Okay, so the warming up has been done. Don't relax. This third one is trickier. Keep your eye on the screen. Rituraj, right, it was a night owl, but we have the third one on the screen.
Surprise to death.
Surprise, it's the word, the first word. The rest two words are correct. To death.
Shock to death.
More synonyms for shock.
Shock. Afraid to die. I don't know.
Afraid. Yes, afraid.
Afraid
More
to die.
synonyms.
Afraid to die.
Afraid to
Afraid
die.
to death.
Close,
Right.
very close, Dinesh.
Afraid to death. Afraid to death.
Shall I take him as a winner? He's very close. Megha, what do you say?
Yes, and you can go with the correct phrase over here.
Scared to death. Scared
Afraid
to
to
death.
death.
Yeah, scared.
Yeah,
scared to death.
Scared to death. Okay.
Scared to death. Radhika has done it in the chat also. Thank you, Radhika. And nice, Dinesh, you cracked it. So I think he deserves a virtual clap over here.
Yes.
And what about the other participants? Don't be silent spectators. Let's see who cracks this fourth one. Keep the streak alive, people.
I don't know. Hammer the horse.
The second part of the phrase is correct. The first part you need to decode. You're very
Strike the
close.
horse.
Oh, you're very close. Sorry.
Strike the horse. Strike the horse.
Very close. Very close.
Hammer and horse. Okay, Rituraj says hammer and horse. Very much close to it, all of
Very
you.
good. Yes.
Just one try.
Very close.
Yes, others, Sheila, Reena,
Mm.
with others, please make a try, Seema.
Beat a dead horse.
Well done. Well done. Decode.
Well done, well done.
Well done. Very nice. That was amazing. That was really decoded so well. All right. The fifth one, and this one is simple. The
Barbecue
hint over
chicken.
here, hint over
Barbecue
here
chicken.
is related to not not correct. Hint, if I give, it's related something related to Thanksgiving.
Come on, give a try, George.
Okay, turkey.
Stuffed
Well done,
turkey.
Sheila.
Stuffed
But the
turkey.
first, sorry,
Stuffed turkey. Oh,
not
No?
stuffed.
uh,
But the second part of the phrase is
that
correct.
that is. Hang on.
Frozen, oh,
Cold
so close.
cold turkey.
Sheila.
Cold
Cold
turkey.
turkey,
Cold
not
turkey.
Cold
good.
turkey.
Very well,
Perfect,
very
spot
well.
on. I love the
Yeah.
energy.
Dinesh,
Well
yes,
done.
leading over here.
Yes,
Great, Dinesh.
the energy is so high.
Yeah, I remembered actually. We used to use this phrase. I actually forgot. So I, yeah.
Okay, so the last one, the sixth
Home
challenge,
sweet
and this is
home. Home sweet home.
that's
Yes,
perfect. Decoded and
great.
delivered so quick. You didn't just see it, you owned it, Dinesh. I love the energy.
You know me,
All
Pushpa.
right.
That was, you know me, right?
I loved it. I mean, the energy over here was high. Okay. So let me ask you a quick question over here. All of you were looking at the same emojis, but did everyone see the same meaning immediately?
For some, yes, but for some, it was.
Okay. Some were quick. Yes. The answer is obviously no, because some were quick, some hesitated, some maybe overthought and were not able to reach the answer. And yet the image never changed. What changed was the interpretation. And that is exactly what happens with feedback. Two people can receive the same feedback, the same sentence, and yet one may feel attacked, the other may feel guided. One may shut down, but the other may step up. So the feedback didn't change here, the interpretation did. Feedback is rarely the problem, but how we decode is the actual problem. And today, we are not going to just talk about feedback, we are going to talk about how to convert feedback into fuel. And on the screen, you can see what we are going to cover today. So, we will begin with unpacking why feedback, even when well intentioned, can hit us so personally. Then we will look at what often goes off track in real workplace conversations. After that, you will learn how to stay grounded and respond without taking it to heart. We will reframe feedback as progress and not a baggage to silently carry around. Dear audience, I would like you to mute yourselves because there's a lot of disturbance. Kindly mute yourselves. And finally, you will walk away with a simple, ready to use response for the very next time feedback comes your way. And to bring this to life, I will now hand over to Megha, who will share a quick workplace case study. Megha, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Pushpa. Thank you very much. And once again, a warm welcome to you all and a happy Valentine Day. But before moving ahead, I would like to apologize you all for my such a hoarse voice because of the cold. And thank you in advance for your patience. Okay, let's continue. Now that Pushpa has shared what we will be covering today, let's get into it. And I would like to start by sharing a simple case study with you from a performance review meeting. Can we have the next slide, please? Yeah. Now, as you could see, it's a performance review meeting, and the situation is here the Rohit believes that he performed well all year. And now, as there's the performance review going on, his manager says, he gives the review to him as your execution is strong, but your ownership is inconsistent. Rohit shuts down for a week. Can we have the next slide, please? Now, I would like you all to pause the story here for a moment, whatever we heard about Rohit. Nothing dramatic happened in that meeting. The manager didn't shout. The feedback wasn't abusive. And yet, Rohit shut down for a week. Why? Because feedback doesn't just land on our ears, it lands inside our heads. And when feedback hits the brain silently starts asking questions like, am I safe? Am I competent? Am I respected? And at that moment, the brain is checking for danger. Not physical danger, but ego danger. Let me make it clear for you over here. Here, ego is not a pride or overconfidence. Your ego means our professional identity. Yes. And this is how we see ourselves at our work, like capable, reliable, smart, valuable. And when feedback questions that image, the ego feels threatened. Inside the mind, it sounds like this: will this feedback harm my image? Will it affect my role, my credibility, or my future? What if they think I'm not capable? What if my reputation is damaged? What if I'm not as good as I believed? Let me pause here for a while. And I would like to ask you, how many of you can relate to this? Does this happen to you also? And I want you to unmute yourself and share what happens with you when you get feedbacks. Do you also feel the same or something similar happens with you also? Yes, Rajesh, Reena, Nima, Dinesh.
What I Yes, I'm Seema here. I would like to share my experience. Mostly, I feel I go inside ourselves, like to search some solution, the given feedback, why it is happening, and what can I do for that. This is how it happens with me. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thanks for sharing. Yes, anyone else? I would like more of you to unmute yourself and share your. Yes, yes, Dinesh.
Yeah, so Mega, I've been on the both side of being leading a team and having regular continuous one-on-ones. Even I'm doing it right now as well, like with some of my people. So feedback definitely, it's a very major tool, I would say, in any workplace, even at your personal space also. When you cook food also, right, you will ask your kids like, khana kaisa bana hai, how's the food and all.
Yes.
So they'll taste, and every time it will not be the great thing, even
Sure.
though it's been the same person cooking it for multiple times. But
Yeah.
sometimes, so I actually relate my stuff with these kind of simple metaphors to understand the things very clearly. So that, so okay, I just tell you what happened today morning. I wanted oats in my breakfast, and the oats came with a lot of salt in that. My mother actually, she didn't know that the masala has the salt already, so
Okay.
she put some extra salt, and it became too much heavy for me to have it. And but she's 76 years old, so I had to respect her at the same time, telling her it's too salty. But then uh, I asked her, okay, uh, this you can taste this, and you can see how it feels like. Oh, it's something wrong in that. Okay, fine. Don't worry, you made it, that is fine. Can you give me some curd along with that so it can balance the taste? So yes, curd is available. She was very happy that whatever she has cooked, I'm able to eat. So it was something which is positive feedback for her also. Feedback was there, and now she will be always checking that masala whether it has a salt or not. And coming back to the professional environment, yes, I have received sometimes the feedback, and in corporate sector, in this world, you must be aware that some feedback, they have to be drafted, they have to be built up. They are not the actual feedback which we are receiving. However, I'm open to feedback, and I don't consider any feedback as a negative feedback.
Great.
Every feedback is a positive feedback, whether it is your appreciation feedback, or if it is something like the case study that you have shown. If they're
Mhm.
saying that there is some gap in that skill area, and you think that there is no gap, you can just do some counter question. There should be some kind of a communication which has to go in the feedback. It's not that you are somebody is downloading that. It's a conversation. So feedback should be like, one person is giving a feedback, other person is taking, and he is just taking out the learning, like why the people are thinking about me for that. So that ways, I think things are like a little. People get a little more skeptical about thinking like, okay, feedback session. They'll again going to tell me about the same thing.
Mm.
Some people are confident. This thing, but I actually feel that it's a very good exercise that what you can't see, because as a human, it's in our nature that we can find a smallest of the mistakes in others, but we can't see our own mistakes, even if it's a big huge mistake. So always be open for that, and that is what I think the feedback is the fuel, right? So
Yes.
with feedback you can't even start the ignition.
Yes, yes, you are very correct. And yes, as you shared, feedback is not only important in our professional life, but also in our personal life. It affects. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing, Dinesh. Yes, Reena,
Megha,
I'd like to know from
uh,
you. Okay. First, we will have Reena over here. Yes, Reena.
Yeah, basically, to err is human. Like we all make mistakes.
Yes.
But then accepting mistake is not in our nature. So it's
Hmm.
not very easy to accept that I have made this mistake, or else this is something which I lack.
Hmm.
So to under and getting a feedback, of course, whether we accept or not, it does hit our ego,
Yes.
right? And like I give feedback to students. Not everybody is open to feedback. There
Yes.
might be some changes when there is realization that yes, this feedback is positive. Now
Hmm.
to give a positive feedback, now approach while giving the feedback, or while giving the feedback, how you give the feedback is also important. Because first, of course, we have to start with on a positive note, and then add to it that however you can improve with this, or again, giving a feedback is important, how you give the feedback. So
Yes.
it shouldn't hit the ego of the person first. Giving it a very blunt feedback is also dangerous. Dangerous as in it might turn into something else. It might turn ugly. So we have to be careful while giving the feedback, as well as when we take the feedback, because I do understand that it's human nature not to accept one's errors, right? So yeah, I think making the feedback uh, the fuel what you have taken up as a session is important, and I think I need to learn more about it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Reena, for sharing. Yes, Rajesh.
ma'am, I think feedback plays a very, very important role in our life, particularly when generally we are like in corporate and all, we are presenting something, our presentations, or we are giving some briefing, scrum, and those things. And it depends in particularly when we get our feedback from our bosses. And now it depends in what words he is using, because same line, same feedback can be given in 100 words. And words have power. We all agree with that. And
Yes.
what tone? Tone is has 10 times power. What tone feedback is being given, what words being used, these are very important. What all genders are sitting, I don't know how much you agree. Ladies or girls are more prone to negative feedback. They feel very bad. Even men feel very bad. But ladies, they feel very, very bad when a negative feedback is given to them. Even personal life also, like Dinesh brought out, any after any every cooking, lady will ask for a feedback. Kaisa laga khana? Though she's making daily. Generally, male gender doesn't ask for demand for the feedback, but ladies demand. Before any party, she will ask, "How do I look like?" It's a daily question. But again, man has to somehow manage, whether diplomatically or whatever way he has to manage. He has to manage. Man doesn't demand these types. It's a little bit of gender oriented also. Maybe our society is progressing slowly. We are putting like ladies empowerment is coming up, and it is good. It should come. So that's the reason they feel very much insecure or secure in both the matter. So similarly, coming back to the boardroom, and also they feel very bad when an adverse feedback is given to them. Now how to come back? It generates a very good vibe in front of 50 people. You are like praised. It will generate very very good vibe. And if the other way around, if some bad words are spoken to you, and it converts into negative vibes. Now it has to come. Feedback has to come in the daily life. If you are in a corporate or anywhere, at home also, you have to face these feedbacks. Now how to come out from this? You have to have very high resilient power. Resilient power means you may go back to bosses if it is very negative feedback. You may consult, you may have a counseling session. You may ask him what made you speak like this. There's the only way to come out from the feedback. Otherwise, it will be very very difficult to come out from that negative energy, and you'll be losing days and weeks and all. You'll be in that domain only. But once you go back to your boss, he will definitely. He's a boss, not a bad man. He must be thinking good for you only, but then he'll explain you this was the reason, and that time you have to take very very positive those feedback. You have to take very very, you don't have to think your boss is bekar hai, boss is pagal hai, he doesn't know anything, or he doesn't admire my capabilities. And then you have to take those feedbacks very very positive and try to improve. But that communication is required. If you don't communicate, just keep thinking, remain in your that mendak kuएं ka mendak ban ke, then you will be going day by day in negative feeling only, slowly depression and all, and your performance will also get affected. So it's better to speak to the boss or whoever has given you negative feedback. Of course, if positive feedback, it's good. You need not to speak. But if it's a negative feedback, definitely you'll go back and ask him what made to speak negative, because you have put up your best efforts. Nobody will go like just like that. I have put up my best effort, but still you want something, then let me. Then he should think, yes, he should try to correlate and synchronize where I was wrong. And that time he must try to improve.
Thank you, Rajesh. I could see Dinesh and Ashok, but I will like to take your inputs after some time. We have some more other questions where we will like to get your responses. Let me continue over here. Okay, the way you all gave inputs, and yes, that's why the same feedback can create growth in one person and shut down in another. Because feedback hits where the ego lives. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. Now, when feedback hits the ego, most of us don't respond logically. We respond automatically. Over the years, I have noticed three default reactions people fall into. The first reaction is threat response. The mind immediately says, I am being attacked. Not because the feedback is aggressive, but because it feels unsafe. And when that happens, the body and mind go into protection mode. Some people become defensive, some people go silent, and some people become tense. And what's important to understand is this: in a threat response, the brain is not listening to improve, it is listening to protect. So even useful feedback doesn't land because the mind is busy defending the self. And the second reaction is identity collapse. Here, the inner voice doesn't argue. It turns inward and says, I am not good enough. So instead of seeing feedback as input about a task or behavior, the person start seeing it as a statement about who they are. And then confidence drops, motivation dips, self doubt creeps in. People in identity collapse often stop taking initiative. They become extra cautious. They avoid visibility, not because they don't care, but because they are afraid of failing again. Outwardly, everything looks normal. Inwardly, the person has started questioning their own value. And the third reaction is ego protection. Here, the mind says, they don't understand me. And then, instead of turning feedback inward, we start pushing it outward. We start justifying our actions. We mentally list reasons. We explain the context to ourselves, sometimes even before the other person finishes speaking. On the surface, it sounds logical, but underneath, it's a way of protecting our self image. The feedback may have some truth in it, but because the ego feels threatened, we reject it before examining it. So the feedback is heard, but it is not absorbed. And most of the time, we default to one more than others. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. Now, once we have recognized our default reaction, the next question is, what do we do instead? Not a big framework, not a long technique, just a pause. Yes, I call this a 5-second pause rule. Before you respond to feedback verbally or mentally, give yourself 5 seconds. First is breathe. Take one slow breath. This tells the brain, I am safe. Second, ask one clarifying question. Not to defend, not to justify, just to understand. Now, if we take Rohit's example from the first case study, you can ask something like this in the same situation to your senior. When you say ownership was inconsistent, can you give me one example? And this will clarify your doubt also. And the third is repeat what you understood. This slows down the conversation down and removes assumptions. Let's again take the Rohit's example. How can you do it in the same situation? You can ask like this. So what I'm hearing is that the delivery was strong, but you would like more proactive follow through. Is that right? This small pause does one powerful thing. It moves you from emotional reaction to a powerful response, professional response. A 5-second pause can save weeks of resentment. Understanding this internal reaction is the first step. Now let's look at what feedback actually looks like in different workplace situations. Over to you, Pushpa.
Thank you, Megha. All right, let's slow it down. So there's a short story here. Instead of me reading it out, I would like to hear it from someone else's voice. If anyone is comfortable, could you read it aloud for us?
Can I?
Yeah, please.
So, Ananya was an experienced professional in a fast paced corporate team, known for her preparation and reliability. True to her working style, she had been preparing carefully for an important review meeting. The meeting was packed with colleagues, seniors, and leaders. While she was presenting her presentation, her manager said casually, in front of everyone, this wasn't thought through well. You need to be more proactive. Then the discussion moved on. Ananya didn't respond. She nodded, made a note, and stayed quiet for the rest of the meeting. But inside, the reaction was loud. For the next few days, she questioned her ability, replayed the comment repeatedly, and pulled back in discussion.
Thank you, Dinesh. Now let's sit with this for a second. What we just heard isn't really about that one individual. It's about what happens when feedback is shared publicly. Now, a quick question. Did Ananya stop to check what was really being said, or did she reacted instantly? Use the chat box for your responses. What do you think? Did Ananya stop to check? No, she did, obviously. What was the comment supported by? Was the comment supported by any specific example, or was it just an opinion? What do you think in this story? The comment that Ananya received, was it supported by any example, or it was just an opinion? Thank you, Dinesh, for your quick response. Just a casual opinion. All right. So most of us believe that it was just an opinion. Was this feedback a part of larger pattern, or was it the first time she heard it? So from this scenario, what can you guess? Was it a part of a larger pattern, or it was the first time she heard it? I believe perhaps it was the first time. Yes, correct. And who did it come from? Someone who had closely observed her work, or someone speaking without much of context? So according to the story, what do you believe? Was it from someone who had closely observed her work, or someone who was speaking without much context? Okay, so someone who knows her well, someone who is close to her. Thank you for your responses. Thank you, Rituraj. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Rajesh. Now, in this situation, what we have observed is, even when the intention wasn't personal, the feedback, because it was given in front of others, it felt personal, and there was the emotional weight. Often it is not about the feedback itself that stays with us, but how it was experienced in that moment. So let's move ahead and talk about how we can make a better sense of feedback in such situations without carrying longer than we need. Can we have the next slide, please? So here is this simple model, which we call it as the feedback filter model. If we start applying this model, we will be able to filter the feedback. When feedback comes our way, we often decide it instantly whether to accept it or to dismiss it. The model encourages us to take a pause, like Megha mentioned in her previous slide. The pause, that is very important. Before reacting, we should ask 3 questions to ourselves. Those 3 questions are listed on the screen. Is it a fact-based feedback, or is it a pattern-based? Is it coming from someone relevant? We don't need to be true in all 3 questions, but if 2 out of 3 are yes, then the feedback deserves an attention. And if not, then it just needs your acknowledgement without internalization. This model helps us to stay objective, especially when feedback is unexpected or public. I hope you have understood this model, and next time when you receive any feedback, you will be able to filter the feedback according to the questions that are mentioned on the screen. Now let's take that thought one step further and understand how feedback shows up when interpretation transforms the way and the feedback lands. So can we have the next slide, please? Here we are going to talk about the emotional response and the professional response. Our first response in feedback is often emotional. We may shut down, justify, blame, or withdraw, and that's human. But professionalism begins when we shift from reaction to response. Instead of assuming, we clarify. Instead of defending, we ask for data. And instead of taking it personally, we focus on improvement. This is how feedback moves from being a weight we carry to fuel we actually can use. Can we have the next slide? We must have heard all these knee jerk phrases that shut down the conversations. So now I would like you to rewrite your reaction. Like, for example, instead of saying that's not fair, we can use help me understand where I fell short. Instead of that's not my responsibility, ask what would better ownership look like here? And why does this work? Because it builds trust. It sparks proactive mindset and it fits perfectly in our daily leadership chats. So, dear audience, use the chat box. Think back of a time you received a feedback and now type that in the chat, a rewritten version of how you reacted. How would you respond differently if you had a choice? Any situation, anytime you reacted to a feedback, write a rewritten version of it. If you get a chance to respond again in a different manner, how would you respond? Please use the chat box to write a rewritten version of the reaction. I'm waiting for your responses. And also, I would like everyone to please keep yourself in the mute mode. There's a lot of disturbance from your end. Somebody has kept the mic on. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, want to know how could have done better, a better solution. Okay. Thank you, Ashok. Seema, we haven't heard from you. Sheila, Rituraj, Reena, Rajesh. Think of a time, think of that reaction that you gave, and you would like to rewrite it. I'm sure there must be some instant where you reacted to a feedback and you would like to respond to it in a different manner today. Okay, Dinesh has responded. Would you help me better understand for this presentation? As you told, there are gaps in presentation. So nice. That's a powerful shift. Anyone who would like to unmute and speak? The ones who are not using the chat box, I have already received responses from Ashok and Dinesh. Reena, Rituraj. All right, then. That's a powerful reflection. And now it's time to keep the momentum going on. I'm thrilled to hand over to Megha, my co host. She's going to take us deeper into this journey and challenge us in new ways. Megha, the stage is yours.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, thanks, Pushpa. And before we proceed, I would like you to watch a short video clip on a feedback conversation. Can we have the clip, please? Thank you. All right. That was funny, yes. But if we remove the humor for a moment, the feedback was harsh, yes, direct and uncomfortable. And in moment like that, we don't think about growth. We think about how it was said. That's exactly where the shift begins. When feedback feels harsh, emotional reaction rise. And this is exactly where one question can change everything. This is what I call the upgrade question. Instead of reacting to the tone, instead of replaying the words, we can ask, What specific behavior should I change to improve this? This question does something powerful. It pulls the feedback out of emotion and turns it into data, as shared by Pushpa also before. Harsh feedback is often vague. The upgrade quotient converts that vagueness into clarity. It moves us from vague criticism to measurable action. Now, the feedback is no longer about you as a person, it's about a behavior you can change. And that's when feedback stops hurting and starts helping. Can we have the next slide, please? Yeah. And now I'm going to talk about very important shift. We need to learn to separate skill from identity. A skill is something you do. It can be learned, it can be improved. And identity is who you think you are. And that's where feedback hurts the most. When we mix the two, feedback feels personal. For example, notice this difference. Instead of saying, I am bad at a communication, which feels like an attack to your identity, try saying, my client messaging needs structure, which focuses on a skill. And the problem hasn't changed. The language has changed. The language changes energy. When you talk about skills, the mind stays open. And when you attack identity, the mind shuts down. So the goal is not to deny feedback, it is to translate it into something you can work on. Okay, let's move ahead. Can we have the next slide? Now, before the early one, yeah. Now, before we close, I want to leave you with a few things you can actually do. Not someday, not when things are perfect, but from tomorrow. First, ask for feed forward, not just feedback. Instead of asking, how did I do? Ask, what is one specific improvement I should focus on next? It keeps the focus on improvement, not judgment. The second thing you can do is ask a very simple question. What one thing I can improve this month? Why? Because one thing feels manageable. It reduces overwhelm and resistance. The third one is very important. Never respond immediately when you are emotional. Pause, breathe, let the emotion settle before you reply. The fourth is summarize what you heard. I'm not asking you to agree to everything, but before agreeing, confirming it, try to understand it. This alone prevents many misunderstandings. The fifth is ask for one example to make your feedback clear. This example turns opinion into clarity. This makes the feedback specific. And finally, follow up after 30 days. That's where growth becomes visible, not in intention, but in action. Which brings me to this line at the bottom. Growth is visible in behavior change, not in explanations, not in apologies, but in what actually changes over time. Feedback becomes fuel only when behavior changes. All of this only matters if it turns into action. Pushpa will now take us into a final reflection. Over to you, Pushpa.
Thank you, Megha. And before we wrap up, I would like you to think about just one thing from all the feedbacks you have received recently. Which one piece are you willing to act on this month? So, a final reflection from you all, not everything, just one. Take a moment and click on the Mentimeter link that has been shared in the chat box and share it with us. One final reflection. So we are waiting for your. What is one feedback you will act on this month? Please share your responses through the link, Mentimeter link that has been shared in the chat box. Because feedback becomes useful only when it is turned into action. Okay, pause and take time, feed forward, smile more in the class. So nice. Apply my learnings. Communicate. Those are some interesting actions that I can see. I think we are more in number. I request everyone to share the responses. Calm down and communicate. Oh, that's something interesting. That pause is important. Yes. All right. I think almost everyone has responded. Uh, Thank you for sharing your responses. Can we have the next slide, please? And now that we have reached the end of today's session, please take a moment to reflect one key takeaway from this session that you will be carrying back to your work. It could be anything, a mindset shift, a small action, or a fresh perspective on handling feedback. Please unmute yourself and share your takeaway. You can pick anyone from the ones that we have shared on the slide or anything, any of your perspective. Please share it with us, your key takeaways. I think we have received something in the chat. So Rajesh says, thanks a lot for an awesome session. I think topic itself is very close to everyone. I had a great learnings from this session. Thank you, Rajesh. Glad that you found it worth. Thank you so much. Anyone who would like to unmute and share the takeaways? Okay, Ritu, for Ritu, the first one resonates well. Feedback is data, not a verdict. Thank you, Ritu, for sharing your response.
So, Pushpa, I would like to say that whatever the takeaways that you have written here, they are very much aligned, uh, all of them rather,
Thank you.
because everyone is intertwined with each other, right? And together only it can convert into a constructive feedback, I would say. So I would say a feedback is not just any kind of a opinion or anything which is, even if it is data backed, then also you have to convey it in a way that the other person should understand it, right? So
Yes, yes, totally agree, Dinesh.
that
Thank you for
is
sharing
the
your
most important thing. And I think when you are giving a feedback to somebody, you should keep your biases on the other side. So that is the input that I wanted to give. And so that, because
well said.
sometimes I've seen that the feedback are because of certain biases, like Rajesh was saying about
Yeah.
gender biases there, right? So people are speaking to males in a different manner and females to a different manner. So this happens actually, and even I've felt that ways. So for males, sometimes it happens that, okay, if it is something that you want to address, then you can take that thing separately. But what is happening in the corporates and the offices nowadays, that if it's a fault, people making that in public, and if it's some kind of an appreciation feedback that you have to give, then you are giving it in the closed doors, which doesn't make sense. It's a vice versa situation. If it is something which has to be known by the team. So what I used to do in my case, if the person has completed a project, I was actually a black belt mentor, so I was mentoring the project. So if somebody clears the panel and all, so I publish the email. It was a kind of a format that I have created, and it goes to everyone in that channel, VP, AVPs, SVPs, and everything. So they receive those kind of appreciation mails on that, that great work, this and that. So that boosts up the confidence of the person. But sometimes what happens is when you are doing something good and your own manager is not supporting that, that is sometimes you feel that, okay, that small, simple pat on the back kind of a thing, that yes, good work done means a lot. It can turn the things totally different. So I think uh, feedback is related with biases, that it is also related with your EI. So it's there. Empathy is not, now we are missing that empathy. So I don't know whether people say these as soft skills or something like that to address the issues, but rather than soft skills, I would say it is behavioral and competency skills, rather not soft.
Totally agree. Thank you for sharing your perspective, Dinesh. Seema, I would like to hear from you. What's your say on Dinesh's perspective?
Yes, Pushpa, yes. I always feel the feedback should be like a sandwich. You should have to appreciate, you should start with the appreciation, make the corrections where you need to give the feedback, negative feedback or something in the correct manner, correct tone. And then again, and also again appreciate for the work done. This is what my point of view, my opinion regarding the feedback. Um, and I like your session, really worth watching it. And there are certain things that I have also learned many points, that how to react, respond once get the when we get the feedback. So take a breath and then respond. It's a wonderful line. I mean to say, we unconsciously react, but we should consciously respond it. That's really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Seema, for sharing your perspective. I think Rajesh would like to go next.
Ma'am, for me, learning is very important. Whatever said and then whatever has been done is okay. But what we learn from this feedback sessions and all. So for me, the feed forward is very, very important. Whatever happened, like what we carry further, what we learn from that, that next time we'll take care of this thing, next time we'll take care of this thing. And secondly, I'm very much in agreement with Dinesh that we must appreciate people in open door, like in public. And whenever we want to give any corrective action or punishment, that should be in closed door. We always, as far as possible, sometimes it's not possible, but yeah, as far as possible, we must follow.
Thank you, Rajesh, for sharing your perspective. Ashok, please
I
submit
think,
your.
yeah, Pushpa, I think people have added, a lot of people have said what it is, but only two things which I strongly believe during feedback. One is your body language, because people, what they talk, how this, what you speak is not important. How you speak is very important, because if your body language is positive, the person opposite side also will take that feedback positive, because a lot of time your body language is so strong. No, you come as a so as a violent guy, so if your body language is good, positive, I think any feedback will be taken positively, I think.
So it's always interesting to hear what stood out for different people. And before we close, if you have any questions, any reflections, please feel free to ask. Megha and I, we will be both happy to answer your questions. I think.
Before we, sorry to interrupt, before we go for the questions, queries and questions, I would like to share. We have shared a feedback link in the chat box. Please go ahead and share your feedback with us. We would like to have your feedback for us, which will work like a filter for us. So please don't forget to give your feedback. Now, if you could, please do it. And yes, we are open for the questions. If you have any queries, please feel free.
Thank you all. So, what is your one action this week? It is to convert every piece of critical feedback into the fuel that powers your next tactical improvement. Thank you all for your time. This was Turning Feedback into Fuel. And I would also like to thank our wonderful facilitators for today's insightful and practical session. And thank you to all our energetic participants for your time and engagement. As shared, you will receive the takeaway resource from today's session, which will apply which will help you apply these learnings in your day-to-day meetings. To stay connected with us, our Atulith Academy social media links have already been shared in the chat. Please follow us to stay updated on more practical, relevant, and engaging webinars for corporate professionals. I'd also like to mention that we have our next webinar coming up on 21st of February, where, where we'll be exploring another important workplace skill. Details and registration information will be shared shortly. Once again, thank you all for being with us today. And I would also request everyone to please switch on your cameras so we can have a nice, memorable picture.
Just for a while, it's a request. For a second, if you could. It's a request to everyone. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. So, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Enjoy your Valentine's evenings, all of you. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank you, Pushpa, for inviting me in the session, and Mega as well.
Thank
So,
you, Dinesh. Thank you.
and we'll be connecting. Pushpa, I'm connected with you. I'll be connecting with you, Mega, as well on over the
Sure,
LinkedIn, so we can share our thoughts and plan some sessions also, because
sure,
um,
sure.
there can be some possibilities, right? Pushpa, I'll be connecting with you once.
Sure, sure, Dinesh. Looking forward. Thank you.
And
Surely.
we would like to see you in our upcoming sessions also.
I can conduct sessions. I'm doing that. If your Atulith wants me to take some sessions, I can be open to talk and discuss on that as well. Because
Okay.
as I told you last in my last startup session, so I have to being a project lead. They were not, and that was a startup, so they were not involving any kind of a training people other than the hiring partners. So I have to build the training plan. I have done all those things for them. So yeah, it is. And I have a passion for learning and being with people, understanding. And that's why people were telling me not to do a PMP ka koi fayda nahi hai. You have already done that, IPMO and all those things. I said, no, that was in my bucket list. I had to do that. I've done that. Psychology, I was very much inclined to. So I've done that. So career guidance and counseling and your neurons, your dopamine, your all those things. So these are all of the things that excites me, and whatever excites me, I try to give it back to the community, to the people. And I don't know. Even I would like to hear feedback from you to feel myself. Pushpa knows me very well. That when I speak a lot. So so, and we have been a part of that wonderful group where we have done a lot of activities together, and we have been a part of a team. So, Pushpa, you made me go to that days again. That 2 years back,
Thank
two
you,
3 years.
Dinesh. Glad you were here. Um,
Yeah, it's my honor actually, Pushpa. Like